What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Games with R&D podcast, episode 8. This is actually our third recording from home. Can you guys believe that? Is that crazy?
It is super crazy.
It is crazy since this whole quarantine. Yeah. It's just nuts. I miss being in the same room with you guys. Of course, I'm always going to be joined by the other hosts. We have Roberto.
Hello.
And Dantastic.
Yeah, that's right. I miss my coffee. I need my coffee.
Yeah, we used to have a little tradition. We'd come in Roberto's house. We'd rummage through all of his things. If you're listening, let me tell you, dude, Dan's beard over quarantine has gotten crazy. You're just going to have to take my word for it. We did a Skype call, and Dantastic's beard is insane. It's like a level 10 beard, like max level beard. You couldn't get any higher. You can't even equip that beard unless you are like the highest level mage available. I was really impressed by it. It was a sight to be seen for sure. This episode,
your fortitude and stamina needs to be a certain number before you can actually equip anything to the beard.
Yeah, you can't just equip it just coming out as a Padawan. You got to be a high level something or another in order to be able to rock it. I loved it. I fell in love with that beard instantaneously. I wish I could grow a beard like that. Alas, I'm a bald man. This episode is going to be probably a shorter one. Also, a little housekeeping. We're trying a new way of recording. This is a little inside baseball, but I just want to say thank you for bearing with us through the whole quarantine and trying to record a podcast. Roberto does all the editing, and super thank you and shout out to him because I know it's a lot more difficult when we're not all in the same room. We've been using Anchor to record before, and this week we're going to be trying out Skype, and we're not sure if that's going to help in audio quality and cutting out some of the delay that was happening in one of the previous episodes. But either way, thank you for bearing with us, and I really do hope that you enjoy the show. This week, we're going to be, of course, talking about what we've been playing, what we've been doing, things that we've been experiencing, but we're also going to be telling stories about video games that aren't necessarily about us playing them, but just around video games in general, some life stories and experiences, and it should be a lot of fun. I just want to jump right on into what you've been doing, Roberto. What you been up to?
So I really haven't been playing games this last week. I've been kind of taking a break off of that, but I started trying out this service, I guess, that Comcast has called Flex, and it's what they're trying to do is make their own streaming device, a 4K streaming device, and I got an email from them saying, hey, you're one of our internet subscribers. Try it out. See if you like it. A free box. No extra service charges. Like, okay, I'll try it out. I want to see, if it can actually do 4K, with what I got. And it also has automatically Peacock, the, NBC streaming service that's coming out, I think, in a few days, and it's okay. It does the job when it's working. When it's working properly, it does a great job. When it's not working properly, it's a giant headache to get it fixed. And I have some decent internet, around 200 megabytes per second kind of thing, and it. When it lets me play my 4K movies on my 4K TV, it works, no problems. It's just one of those things that happens where it's not connecting, or it just somehow for some reason doesn't connect to my router. It starts having these problems, and it takes me 30-45 minutes to figure this out. But I've been trying Peacock. It's okay. There's maybe it's because it's still coming out. They don't have a lot of stuff into it and that kind of thing. But I got sucked into it because it's the only way to watch like George Lopez, the actual the sitcom show that he had a few years ago. And I kind of got my girlfriend into it too. So we've been watching that pretty much this whole week.
That's cool. Walk me through the setup process. So, is it a very small box, like let's say like the size of Roku, or what would you say as far as size goes?
Smaller than the 4K Apple TV
Okay.
box,
Yeah.
but bigger than a regular Roku box.
Okay. When you're
Are you
setting
talking
it
about
up,
something like a Fire Cube TV or something?
Uh, I think it's a little bigger when it comes to the width, but not height.
Oh, okay.
when you're setting it up, does it have the option to be hardwired in via
It
an Ethernet
does.
cable?
Mhm.
Okay. And
And
you were
that's how I
doing
have it.
okay, so you were doing it hardwired, not over a wireless network.
I tried to do it wirelessly. It wasn't that I was having nothing but problems on that end. So I just hardwired it using a Ethernet adapter. Since my modem is somewhat farther from just using a regular Ethernet cable to it.
Sure, you used a power line to Ethernet adapter.
Correct.
Those things are really, really cool. Yeah. I wonder what kind of wireless card it has. Because I bet you have other devices out there. I mean, I've been to your house and I know your gaming systems are out there. At least the PlayStation 4 is that correct? And
Yeah.
also you have your smart TV out there, which I'm sure you stream from directly, I
No,
would
I
assume.
do not. No,
You
no,
don't?
no.
No, okay. All right.
Oh, no.
But your other devices don't have any issues connecting wirelessly over your network. It's
So the
just
only
this?
it's only that the PlayStations and the PC are both are the only things that are connected wirelessly right now. For some reason, the PC is actually a lot better on the Wi-Fi than just a regular Ethernet port. I don't understand that, but
Weird.
it's fine. And the PlayStations, just because I don't have any more Ethernet cables right now. And originally the Ethernet adapter was for my girlfriend's PC because it doesn't have a wireless card on it yet.
Okay. Let me ask you, how do you control this device? Does it have a proprietary controller or do you use your Comcast remote?
So it has its own control,
Okay.
its own controller, which you can actually set up to sync to your TV and to your. It pretty much acts like a universal remote, which is pretty cool.
All right.
So TV, and if you have like a speaker set, a sound setup, it'll automatically connect for you too. You just need to do the few little instructions it has, and then once you get that, it's golden.
Cool.
It's a pretty maybe about a foot long. Yeah. It's pretty. No one says it's a pretty beefy controller, but
Wow.
it's somewhat long.
Okay, so it's like a full-size television remote. In most
exactly.
Cases. Yeah.
And it has what is it? Voice recognition. So you can just say like, you hold the button, and then you say like Peacock, and it will take you directly Peacock or Netflix or Hulu, depending on what you want to say to it. Which does a good job. I've only been able to test like the 4K on Vudu and YouTube. I don't have Netflix's like top tier subscription for 4K.
Right.
Just because after this whole thing, they're gonna go back to the data caps, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna take full advantage of that anymore.
Exactly. Let me ask you, how does the interface look? Like, do all the apps pop up in like a tile formation? What would you compare it to if you could? Like the home page, the home. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's kind of like a tile formation. You every time you go down, it'll bring a new what's the word? New category of things depending on what you want to watch. That's why like the voice activation thing is kind of nicer and easier, just because there's a lot of clutter in the interface right now that I've seen. That's definitely a complaint of mine. The formatting isn't really as intuitive that I would like. And easy to navigate. So, that's why I've been pretty much every time I want to open up a new program, I just click on the mic button and just say what I want to do, and it'll just automatically take me there. The one thing though is like, for example, Peacock, they you have to go through different menus to be able to do something specific, and
Okay.
that's like I said, they're still trying to. I wouldn't be surprised they're still working on bugs. They're trying to be more user friendly when it comes to how they make things work. So I'm not mad about that. It comes with my the subscription to Peacock is actually part of my bundle, I guess now, because of Flex and that kind of thing. So I'm not paying anything extra for it. But when it's working, it does the job. I have no complaints on that.
When you are streaming and something happens, does it just start buffering? Do you get like a loading screen in the middle, like a little circular thing?
No,
Like,
I wish, because then I would know something was not working properly. What it does is that it goes into a black screen,
oh,
and then
good.
I'm just like, what's happening? Is my
Oh,
TV something wrong with
no.
my TV? And no, and then a minute later it says, "Oops, it looks like there might be something wrong
Of course it is. Yeah.
with the service.
Uh,
So let us check on on our side." And I'm like, all right, that's cool, whatever. And after a minute or so of that, I'm like, okay, then I'm gonna see if something's up with my router. And so I always have to reset it, go back, disconnect the adapters, reconnect them, and then hoping that it works properly.
yeah.
And it can become a thing where it's like, hey, this shouldn't take this long to just be able to stream stuff like this.
Right.
But yeah, that's the main thing that I've been having problems with it. I mean, it's they're trying it out. They're seeing if this could work for them. And I mean, for the tech that it has and how it's working, when it works, it's great. They just might need to fix up the interface and make it a little more user friendly. But other than that, everything works properly on that. And then, especially if you're using their routers, you just connect it. It'll look for your Wi-Fi. If it knows when you first get it in, they kind of program it to already know your Wi-Fi. And so it should automatically, when it turns on, connect to your router, and just get it all set up for you. Unfortunately for me, because it is I bought my own router because I didn't want to pay that $13 a month rental fee. I had to do the manual thing, but that wasn't that hard.
It was pretty easy to walk through the steps.
Yeah, they pretty much just tell you the steps and what you needed to do, and everything just worked from there.
That's crazy. So that's called Flex?
Yeah, Flex.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of curious as to what their motives are. I mean, Xfinity, they're all about the money, right? They don't really care. They're not like, oh, we just want to give Roberto something free. Generally there's
there's
some kind of motive of some kind.
Exactly. But so I also saw that for your first one is free, and then every other one that you want to get is $5 a month. So they're doing that whole the drug dealer thing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, the first hit's free for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's worked on me a couple times, unfortunately, throughout my life. Well, I'd be curious to see as to what comes with it. A lot of companies want to get everybody under the same ecosystem, like Apple being a big example of this, to where like they want you to have the iPhone and then accompany that with your iPad, your MacBook, your iMac, your Apple TV, and all those things work seamlessly together. I'm wondering if they're just, because they realize that streaming is so huge now that they want to get their equipment into people's homes so they can start charging them this, monthly fee of $5. Because, most households, especially in California, where it costs $1 billion to live in even an apartment, most people have multiple different people using multiple different devices. So I could easily see them being able to rack up some cash this way. But my big question is with this, how many more streaming devices do I need? Right? I have my PC, my PS4, my smart TV, all the capabilities through all my Apple devices, which allow me to AirPlay and stream that way. It's just, it's kind of crazy to me that they're just now getting into this. I feel like if they had hit this maybe like 10 years ago, or even 15 for that matter. That would have been kind of huge for them with the launch of, popularity of Netflix and Hulu and stuff like that. It's kind of shocking to me that it's taken them this long. I'm wondering, does DirecTV, I don't know a lot about television services. Does DirecTV have something comparable, or is this
They
something?
do, if I remember correctly. I know that when my parents had it, I kind of bummed off of their account and used it to watch like the World Cup when I didn't have any TV for sure.
Hmm.
You just
All
have to
right.
use an app for it, or connect online, or use a computer and be able to log into the account.
That's crazy. All right. Well, that's flex. I'm curious to see how you adjust to it, and if any patches are done or any updates, and just keep us up to date on that and let us know how it improves in the future or how it doesn't improve. I'd be curious to hear, what you think about it in like a week or two, just to catch up on it. Fantastic.
Yo,
I know you're sitting there thinking about
I,
Final Fantasy 14.
I
Tell
am
me about what games you've been playing.
Final Fantasy 14. Okay, but offline. So I finally received a booster box of mystery booster packs from Magic the Gathering. So
Oh,
my local store was allowing me to purchase stuff and pick it up with contactless delivery. I'm like, sweet. So picked it up, and mystery booster box. Basically, it's like just a random bunch of cards. It's not a regular set like the newest set that just came out online at Korea. This one basically has cards from almost any set, dating all the way back from the very early years of Magic the Gathering. And each box only has 24 packs, where usually they have 36 packs, and it's a lot more expensive. So on average, you're looking at about anywhere from $90 to $110 for a regular booster box, which comes with 36. This one costs $150 and it only has 24 packs. So I got one. I'm like, whatever. I like opening packs. You know what? You're not really supposed to if you're just doing it, but I love opening packs. It's like Christmas. It's like, hey, look, something wrapped up and I want to know what's inside. So I got it and I started opening up, you know, these packs, and it's like a lottery thing. There's these cards and they have value to them. Some of them are worth 5 cents. Some of them are worth $100. Some of the more expensive cards from the past are worth like thousands of dollars.
sure.
It's tough. So in this particular set, which is the mystery boosters, I think the highest valued card is at about $130 at the time of this recording. I pulled that card. It's a mana
Wow.
crypt. Yeah,
What?
it's a mana crypt, and zero casting cost artifact, and it just gives you 3 generic mana. But you take damage if it's during your upkeep. And it's just really one of those good cards that you can play in Commander or any of the legacy formats. And yeah, it's $130. Pulled one.
Wow.
Pulled a bunch of other good stuff too, stuff from my decks. So what I've been doing while I've been waiting for dungeons and waiting for queues to pop in Final Fantasy 14 is I'm pulling my decks one by one, and I'm going through them, and I'm taking out and basically upgrading these decks. And I'm preparing myself so that when this quarantine is lifted and I can finally go see my friends again and play Magic the Gathering, that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to whoop their asses with my new and improved decks that have awesome cards in them. And
So, quick question, and
yeah,
I'm kind of sad to say this, but what makes that card so special again, and why
I
is it
don't,
worth so much?
I don't know. Some of these cards I look at and I'm like, oh, mainly because it's a short print card. It was printed only like a long, long time ago. Let's see, when was the last time it was printed? So aside from mystery boosters, I think it was only printed once, and then it was printed way back in the day, like Unlimited Revised or something like that. I
Oh,
don't remember exactly. I'd have to look it up, but it's one of those cards that had very few reprintings, and it's also one of those cards that enables decks to basically win faster. If you're playing in Legacy or Vintage, you could win turn one with this card.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Okay, that
Uh,
makes okay.
if you're playing in Commander, it gives you if you play it early turns. Uh, you can get a 2 to 3 turn advantage.
Because you
Because
can only put one mana down, right?
right, you can play one land,
Okay.
but this is a zero costing artifact, meaning you don't have to pay any mana to play it, which means you're essentially playing free mana.
Gotcha.
And so then on turn one, you play, your land for turn, and you play a mana crypt, and then you tap it for the 2 mana, and then you play a Soul Ring, which you only need to pay one for, and that also gives you 2 mana. Now you have an extra 3 mana. When you get to turn two, you have 5 mana available, and so basically that's the equivalent of you being on turn five instead of just turn two.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you play your land, so you really have 6 mana. So, so yeah, it's a mana acceleration thing, and it gives you a huge advantage in the early game. And yeah, in legacy formats, old formats, you could win turn one.
Wow.
It's just like, oh hey, you go first. Sweet, I win. Oh, cool. Let's shuffle up and play again. you know.
That must
So
have been
I
fun
enjoyed
once
that.
you picked it. I mean, did you freak out? Did you like
Oh,
cry?
dude, totally
Did you
freaked
like
out
scream
because
like a little girl, like ah?
no, seriously, I'm sitting there and I'm opening my packs, right? And it's a lottery thing, You're like,
Sure.
oh wow, what am I going to get in this pack? Oh sweet, oh cool, whatever. This card's only worth $2. This is only worth 50 cents. And I'm going through, and there's a couple of them that were worth like $8. I'm like, oh sweet, dude, this is awesome. I like this one, Triumph of the Horde. Sweet, this is cool. Oh look, I got Animar, Soul of Elements. Cool, this is awesome. I love this. This is going in one of my decks. I'm gonna build one based around this. And I get to the very last pack, and I knew I was like, I'm not gonna get this card. I wanted the Mana Crypt so bad because when I want a card, I never pull it. Okay, so I was just like, whatever. I gave up. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's probably just gonna be something stupid like Polymorph's Jest or some shit, right? And then I open it up, and I'm just going through, looking at the commons, looking at the uncommons. I'm like, oh, that's pretty. And then I see the Mana Crypt, right? And at first it didn't register. I was just like, like that Mana Crypt. I was like, wait, this is Mana Crypt. Holy crap! Yeah, this is $130. Woo! Yeah, all right. I started going crazy. It was it was fun. It was the very very last pack that I opened, and I didn't expect it. It's like, oh yeah. So I immediately put it into a sleeve, which I then put into another sleeve, which I then put into another top loader hard plastic, and I'm like, all right, sweet. And then I put it into a deck. So yeah.
Sweet, man. So is that the only Mana Crypt card that you own, or
Yes.
do you have another one? Okay, so
No,
this
no,
is
no.
your one and
Mana
only.
Crypt. Yeah, that's the
So,
only one that I own for now.
Do
and it,
you? Oh, go ahead, Roberto, please.
what is there like a limit in how many of the same card you can have in a deck?
In Commander, you can only have one copy of a card per deck.
Oh, okay.
In any other format, barring any restrictions, you can have up to 4 copies of a card in any deck. There are exceptions. There is a list of restricted cards that you can only have one. There is a list of banned cards that you can't have certain ones in. And then there's also a certain mechanic called Companion, which actually just came out in the newest set, Coria Lair Behemoths. If it's your companion, you can have one outside the game, but then you can still have the other 3 in your deck. You can only have a total of 4 of the same card total, but only one can be your companion, which is a new mechanic. It's so very new, and in order for the companion to actually be there, you have to meet certain requirements in deck building in order for it to work. You can always still include it in your regular deck proper, but not as your companion.
Wow, that's crazy. So let me ask you: do you have a lot of doubles, and do you sell those doubles?
I do. I have a
Okay,
ton of them, and I mean, most of them are commons and uncommons, and a lot of them are bulk rares too. So what I have is a bulk box. Uh, Bulk box is essentially any rare or mythic or even high valued uncommons that are about $1 or less. And Basically, I say you can take any one card you want, just put in any two cards you want that are of equal rarity or equal rarity, which the majority of them are rare, so they have to be rare. So you could put in two rare cards and take out any one that you want from my box.
And where do you do this? At tournaments and such?
Wherever I go, yeah, wherever
Yeah.
I go, I'll go to the local store. I'll go to a Magic Fest. I'll go to a bunch of places, and I just have this little bulk box, and I call it, and I look at it, and people are looking through it. Hey, can I see your bulk box? Yeah, okay. They understand what I'm doing, and they're like, okay.
Right.
And I'm like, and the other rule is that you can't really give me two of the same card. And if
Okay.
I don't want two copies of your Kamal's Druidic Vow. I don't want two copies of that. Try to give me two different cards. And then once there's a bunch of I go through the box afterwards and I remove anything that's like, okay, there's too many of these cards now. There's too many of these cards now. And then once I get enough of those, uh, I go through what I want to play with in certain commander decks. Well, it might fit in one of my decks, and if it doesn't, then I'll turn around and I'll go to a buy list that'll buy a lot of my bulk rares and stuff like that, like through Card Kingdom or cool stuff, and I will just sell it to them and just get a little bit of credit and get other cards that I want.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love this trading and barter system. It's amazing. How many Magic cards are there? That's just a random question. I mean, are there thousands now? What is the count?
Individual cards are over 20,000
Jeez.
of
Wow.
actual individually named cards. Now they've reprinted. They've
20,000.
20,000. They've reprinted a bunch of cards, which means if from the time that Magic the Gathering was born, which is 93, all the way up until now, if every single card had a different name, it would be well over 50,000.
Wow, that's insane. Now, let me ask you, out of those 20,000, I realize there's got to be some that are super special printed, but like, how many do you have out of that 20,000?
Individually? Oh, I
Sure.
don't even know.
Well, not on the
I
double,
have okay.
but like,
No, I have over 20,000 cards, but a lot of them are duplicates.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. What do you think?
And I mean, I couldn't even tell you. That's a very interesting question, and I have no idea. That would take a long time for me to figure out.
I was just curious. I was wondering if you knew where you were in because I'm sure there are people out there that have every card, right? There's always going to be like those hardcore collectors.
Oh yeah,
Eh,
there's always going to be something like that. Yeah, I mean, I do organize my cards, and I have them all in boxes, and I have them, uh, you know, um, I have them color coordinated and alphabetized by set.
Okay.
So yeah.
So when you say
So
color
and
coordinated, does it do like the whole weapon drop things that a lot of video games do? Like, is it like white is common and green is
no,
uncommon? Does it do that?
no,
Okay.
no. Color coordinated, as in there's 5 colors of magic: white, blue, black, red, green.
Okay.
Then there's multicolor stuff like that. So every color has their own identity, and they do certain things. And actually, what Wizards did was when they put out a set, the color order is white, blue, black, red, green, and they number the cards from 1 to however much it is, and it's in alphabetical order. So I'm basically just following the same template that Wizards of the Coast uses for their sets. So if there's a white card that starts with the letter A, that's usually going to be number 1. If there's a black card that starts with the letter G, it's probably going to be in the hundreds. Like the set number 100 out of whatever number, because there are collectors out there, they want to know what number it is. It's kind of like
Right.
checklist. Um,
It's
so
crazy to me. It's crazy to me about how long Magic the Gathering has been able to stay relevant, and not just relevant, but like thrive.
oh yeah, right. And it's not even in paper; it's through digital stuff too. You got Magic Online, which Magic the Gathering Online, which is their original client. They have Magic Arena now, which is more standard stuff, and it looks more like Hearthstone and plays more like Hearthstone, but it's still Magic the Gathering and still has all the same core rules. And you're playing against other actual humans. Um, Whereas Magic the Gathering Online looks more like a tabletop, and you're looking at it from like a top down, on the table view, kind of like if you were watching coverage of Magic the Gathering. Yes, it is definitely, and there's a lot of other things on the horizon that's coming out for Magic. There are board games. There's art books. There are tons of stuff.
I could only name one Magic card. What is the Magic card that I can name?
I don't know.
Black
Hey,
Lotus.
Black
Black
Lotus.
Lotus. That's the
Well,
only one I know.
I never would have guessed that. But yeah, that is the most expensive card. Yes.
Is it really still the most expensive card? Because I remember that being the one that everybody wanted when I was a kid.
Yep.
Is that still the thing?
Yeah, because it's also a turn. That's okay. So much like the Mana Crypt, Black Lotus enables a turn 1 combo.
Okay.
So you play a mountain, which is a source of red mana. You play a Black Lotus, which is a 0 casting cost artifact, which when you tap and sacrifice it, it gives you 3 mana of any color. Okay. You play a card called Channel. Now that's a green card. So what you do is you sacrifice your Black Lotus and you use it for green. Channel costs 2 green. So green. You have 1 colorless flare, 1 green mana floating, right? You play Fireball. So you tap your mountain, you use the green that you have in there, and Channel allows you to pay life instead of mana to get generic mana. So you already have 1 green floating. Fireball basically says 1 and X. Red to actually cast the spell, and then X is how much mana you pour into it. And however much mana you pour into it is how much damage you're going to deal to whatever target. So then if you have 1 green mana and then you pay 19 life, that's 20 mana. Turn 1, you just did 20 points of damage to your opponent and instantly win.
Damn. That's a really good card.
Yeah.
So I just checked online, and there was an article done last year by Polygon, and somebody sold online the Black Lotus card for $166,000 at auction.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep.
That's crazy. $166,000.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. I hope I just
So
find a Black
anybody
Lotus
that
on the
has like
street.
those old cards could actually, could buy themselves a house right now in Texas or something.
That's crazy. It's awesome though. It's really awesome.
It is.
Well, that's Magic the Gathering. What else have you been playing? Anything else? Or is that pretty much covered?
Just Final Fantasy 14. That's pretty much it. Some of my board games. Oh, Zombicide is really good.
What is that? It's a board game?
Yeah, there's a board game called Zombicide.
Is it something that you play with 1 or 2 other people? How are you playing this right now?
So I'm playing it solo.
Okay.
You can play solo.
All right.
I buy a lot of games that you can play solo because there's not too many people in my area, surprisingly, that I've found that play board games. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So then, I get them. They're multiplayer games. There's 6 characters that you can choose from. I play all 6. And basically, the more zombies you kill, the harder the game gets, and more zombies spawn. So the more you progress through this game, you could have the board fill up literally with 100 zombies. And it is super fun. I love it. All the characters have their own special abilities. Like there's one girl on roller skates. She can move 2 squares instead of 1. There's this other guy that automatically starts with a gun. He looks like Rick, but he's not, from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
There's another guy that starts with a sword. There's another guy that can rummage twice to look for items.
Okay.
There's another, so there's another guy that requires a smaller die roll in order to hit and kill a zombie. So it's definitely a cooperation game. You have to work with your players, or y'all have to work together in order to complete the scenario. And it's really cool too, because you have these tiles, and they're double-sided tiles with landscapes of cities and just disheveled messes. And whatever scenario you're on, the book will tell you, okay, put these tiles together on this particular side.
All right.
And
So
then
it gives you a
so
little
it gives
hint.
you the scenarios and all this and that, and then it says,
Yeah.
place these markers here, place these zombies here, the zombies will spawn from here, you guys start here, you have to do this, the objective is finish here, survive.
So if you're playing around a table with a group of people, a player, nobody plays the zombies then?
No, the zombies are all automated through the game,
Okay, all right, that's kind of cool. I like that. It's
which
like a cooperative
it
board
still
game.
makes it really hard because the zombies have to follow a strict set of rules, and
Sure.
even knowing the rules, you can still get swarmed.
Wow. I can't wait till we can play board games again. This sounds like a game like I would get into.
Yep.
I like me some zombie apocalypse stuff, whether it be
Oh,
books,
yeah.
games, or
Shoot.
whatever. We should do that. I want to
Yeah,
play.
no.
I want to play a board game with you guys after this is all over. Chill, relaxed board game sounds. Amazing.
There's no chill, relax when it comes to these board games, Garrett. I'm just gonna tell you right now when it comes.
That's
to
even
this
better.
is Roberto, this is a cooperative game. Okay, this will be chill and relaxed.
I'm just saying, I play to win. All right, I'm just going there right now.
So you're
but
saying if we don't pull our weight, you're just gonna leave us behind
pretty
as a
much.
survivor to be fed to
Pretty
the zombies?
much.
Okay.
No, but I was gonna bring up actually because I saw also on our last Skype call him that he had a Arkham Horror as well, and
the card game. Yeah, I have.
oh,
Arkham
it's a
Horror
card game.
Yeah.
Oh, that might be interesting. But I also wanted to bring up, I have Betrayal, and the nice thing about that game too is that we all start as a team, and then halfway through the story of the game, one of us becomes the bad guy.
Ooh.
Oh,
That's
please
so-
let it be me. Please let it-
So the name of the zombie game was Zombified or
No,
what?
Zombicide.
Zombicide.
Yeah.
And then Roberto, your board game was called The Betrayal.
Betrayal, yeah, Betrayal on Haunted Hill.
Oh
Betrayal?
my god, I want that game so bad.
I have the game and the expansion for that.
I
one,
want
so-
that so bad. I want it so bad. I want that game so bad. Seriously, I want that game so bad. My birthday's coming up next week. Seriously, I want that game so bad.
Wow, looks like you know what you have to get Dantastic for his
I
birthday.
guess so.
Either that or an Amazon gift card so I can buy it myself.
That's funny. Oh
Dude,
boy.
Speaking of that, actually, the only reason why I have Betrayal is because I think a few years ago, Target had like a board game sale, and they had it for like $20, I think.
I missed it.
Wait, how much is
I
a board
remember-
game normally?
$50.
It ranges from 20, I would say 30 to 200, depending on how old the game is.
Oh my gosh, board games are $200?
Yeah, there's I used to have one called Summoner Wars, and back in the day I bought it for $50. Now if I try to find the original one that I had, it's about $150.
Wow.
Because it's an out of print board game.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like limited run kind of stuff. Yeah,
Yep.
that I understand, I guess. But
There's a few games that Kenny and I want, and we can't get it because like he said, they don't make them anymore. And when we found out about this game and saw people playing it, and we wanted it, it was already $150 to $200.
oof, that's expensive.
Yeah, I scour Craigslist sometimes to try to find games.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Well, those are some board games. You know what else is cool? Video games. I've been playing some of those. I decided to jump into Doom Eternal because there was a sale finally on that. I was able to pick it up over at Humble Bundle for about $40. It was like $40 and some change with my Humble Bundle monthly subscription. Yeah, I get a little bit off the top, even off of sale prices. So I've been wanting to check it out, but I usually like to wait till there's some kind of a sale on the game. It's developed by id Software, published by Bethesda. This is the 5th game in the series. However, I do believe it's just a direct sequel of the 2016 reimagining Doom. I don't really see them, as far as story-wise goes, mentioning anything else as far as the prior installments go, but the way that the story is being told does make me believe it is a direct sequel to Doom 2016. And I really liked Doom 2016 back in the day. Like I always, really loved the music, the tone, the feel, the gameplay. Everything really did click with me. And so far, this one, it's kind of a mixed bag, actually. So for one, the story is kind of it's batshit crazy. It really is. I mean, essentially, Hell Priests have opened up portals to hell on Earth, and it's up to you, the Doom guy or Doom Slayer, to obviously kill the Hell Priests, close the portals, save the world. But to be fair, I do realize that like there are people out there that really care about Doom lore. I know that there has been books written. I know there's comics being made. So I know that there are people out there for the story. But for me personally, that's not really like why I'm there. I could really kind of care less as to what's going on. To me, it's more about the gameplay. So, I kind of have mixed feelings about this. So even in 2016, this game is really all about momentum. The word momentum comes to mind. It really wants you to consistently move, flank, bob, weave, shoot, rinse, repeat. And it's got so many game mechanics kind of layering on top of itself that I think they may have gone one or two over the line with this installment. So what I mean by this is, so for instance, in order to gain health in this, there is ways to pick up health packs on the ground, but you're mainly restoring your health by doing these things called glory kills. So what you'll do is you'll weaken an enemy, shoot it in the leg, shoot it in the chest once, and it'll start to flash. This allows you to perform a glory kill. And when you perform a glory kill, you basically are getting health back from that creature or demon that you're slaying. In turn, you also have limited ammo. Just like the health packs, there are some ammo crates just kind of strewn about the level and the environment, but mostly you're actually getting your ammo back by performing a chainsaw kill. Okay, so that's two different mechanics layering, right? You're constantly juggling like, hey, I have to get health back, or hey, I need to get ammo back. But it even goes steps further than this. You also have a grenade, which basically it has a reset meter. Every couple seconds, it basically revamps itself. You can launch a grenade, and there's a timer on it, 20 seconds, 15 seconds, whatever it may be. There's also a flamethrower, and what that does is you basically light your enemies on fire, then you kill them, and they drop armor. So you have this way of replacing your health, your ammo, your armor, you got a grenade, and it's just kind of a lot. And it's so much happening at once because the game is so frantic. It's so frantic. I mean, you have these areas where there are these demons kind of swarming in on you, and they surround you. And even the lower end enemies can like do a lot of damage to you. So you're kind of moving rather quickly, and it starts to make me kind of it works its way into my anxiety in a way that a game really hasn't in a long time. So it's just it's kind of a lot. Sometimes I'm finding myself forgetting to use my grenade, or I'm forgetting to use my flamethrower because all I'm really trying to do is survive. On top of that, there's a bunch of other actions you can do, like dash and double jump. And so sometimes I'm just kind of forgetting to do some of the things that I should be doing during combat. And I don't think that that's the fault on the game, but it may have one or two other layers. Now, Roberto, I know you played 2016. Did they even have a flamethrower in that?
They did not know.
Okay, so there is more going on here. It's not just me.
No, you're right. They added a flamethrower onto it. They also took out the pistol. I don't know if you noticed that.
I have not gotten the pistol yet, but
there
I
is no
wasn't sure.
pistol.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean they jump you right on into the shotgun, which is a great shotgun, but I was kind of like, where's the pistol? This also feels like I'm doing more things than I did. And on top of this, I don't know if this is a pacing issue. Like maybe they could have introduced these things faster. They give you all these abilities almost right away within the first couple levels. Like right away, you unlock your, glory kill. Then you unlock the chainsaw. Then you unlock the flamethrower. And it's all just so crunched together that I think that maybe if they had maybe introduced one of those things in a level, and given me some time to kind of get accustomed to using that stuff, maybe I would be better at juggling all those components. Another thing I will say is that it does have a pretty cool upgrade system. You upgrade the Doomslayer, and how I can describe this is that there are these like categories, and there's about 7 or 8 of them. And in each one of these categories are 3 upgrades, and a lot of them are the same. So imagine a set of 3, right? On one side is health, One side's ammo, meaning you get more health or you get more ammo. But there's an extra one in the middle. And the only way that you can unlock that extra one in the middle, this bonus upgrade, is if you unlock the two that are on each side of it. But so this is where it gets kind of crazy. Like, let's say you just want nothing but health upgrades. You can do that, but the health upgrades are all separated in each one of these 3 upgrades. So they're in different sections, in different formats and tiles. So you can't just go all health if you want all these extra bonuses. So you really do have to kind of like plot and plan. And it does help because I know I'm usually like an up close and personal guy in this kind of a game. Like, I don't usually use the assault rifle from far away. I'm usually like literally running up to demons and essentially just shooting them in the face as close as I can get. And so I'm kind of trying to create my character to benefit from being up close and from using the shotgun. So that's kind of an interesting thing. On top of that, there are mods that you can find for each gun. And so what I mean by this is your shotgun is just a shotgun at first, but then once you find a mod, you actually unlock a sticky grenade. So if you hold in left trigger, it launches a sticky grenade now, as opposed to just being a shotgun. And not only do you unlock mods for the weapons, but you unlock upgrades for those mods for those weapons. So do you see what I'm getting here? There's a lot of layers going on. And once again, they kind of all throw that at you. Like,
But
really,
you're missing one thing on that, Garrett.
Yeah. What's
the
that?
mastery quests.
Oh, God. Yes, you are right. Okay. So on top of the mods that can be upgraded, once you actually unlock all the upgrades for those mods, then you unlock the mastery for the weapon for those mods. It's kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like, okay, like they were like, okay, I'm going to make a plate of nachos here. And I'm going to throw everything that's in my refrigerator on top of these nachos. I mean, we're going to throw shit that shouldn't even be in there. We're going to put sardines on these nachos. We're going to put artichoke hearts on these nachos. It's like, bro, I didn't need those sardines. I didn't need those artichoke hearts. Take a step back. You know what I'm saying? I don't need the whole kitchen sink. I just need like half of what you were offering. I think it's a little much for me. Also, too, I will say, couple complaints. For one, graphically, I'm not really blown away by this game. And I guess it's because I have been playing a lot of AAA games recently, you know, that look absolutely gorgeous. Like, my eyes are popping out of my sockets. And the opening cutscene to this game is pretty good. But comparatively, like, looking at a lot of the other games that I have been playing recently, it's not subpar, but it's just not hitting the same wow factor, to me at least. Also, visually too, it's very arcadey, and I don't think that's a fault on the game. I think that's by design, but this game reminds me almost like a light gun game. And the way that you're thrown into these arenas and the designs of the demons just kind of look, instead of being scared by these things, they just look like kind of drawn in a way that's just kind of like, these were the assets we had, and just not extremely finely detailed. And I know that's a weird complaint to have. Also, the menu and the UI seems kind of archaic. Like I was looking at the menu and going through my options, and I'm running it on my high-end PC, and I got a really great monitor, all that, whatever. It just looked very last gen to me, I guess, the way that the menu looked. I know that's also a weird thing to complain about. Another weird thing too, and I don't know if it was me, but Roberto, you'd said that you were feeling sick, motion sickness, when you played that, right?
Yeah.
Here's my thing. I don't know if it was the power of persuasion, but the first 15 minutes I played this game, I was like, holy crap, I think I'm feeling sick. And like, I literally was like, wait a minute, is this because Roberto was saying this and I was expecting to feel sick, and so now I'm feeling sick, like I'm tricking myself? But no, I think the default setting of the camera in that game is too high, because I went in there and I lowered it down, and it's not the movement speed of the Doom guy that you're playing your character. It's not the movement speed. It's the camera rotation. That camera rotation's up too high, because I moved it down and that seemed to fix the problem for me. So I was going to tell you, if you have tried playing that recently and it still has made you sick or whatever, maybe try to go in there and adjust the camera rotation setting, because it seemed to help me. It's funny because I think it's up so high because they expect you to be running around like crazy in these arenas, and because you're constantly getting surrounded. But I think by lowering it down, it's not so all over the place. I could tell you what, if this game was in VR and I was playing it, I would puke my guts out for sure. It would take me literally 2 minutes and I'd be vomiting all over the floor. It is so fast because you're constantly having to swivel around and just it's insane. I feel like the difficulty of the game is on point though. I don't feel like I'm getting murdered left and right, and when I do, it's because I'm not using the mechanics correctly. I'm just once again, I'm not so sure that they needed as many layers as they decided to put on it. Also, a couple of cool things. I think that it's got a lot of replayability because I think the secrets are really well hidden in this game. I'm not using a guide. I refuse to do that. I'm not going to watch some, YouTube Let's Play video to find all the secrets. But the map will kind of give you an idea of where something is located. And so it kind of gives you a lot of time after you clear out the enemies to try to find the secrets. And when I do find the secret, I'm like, oh, that's actually really well placed. Like, I feel like not a lot of games anymore hide secrets in a really creative way. It's like, oh, there's a treasure chest under a waterfall, because of course there is. I feel like the ones that I'm finding here make me feel like smart. Also kind of cool too, you're able to go back and play the missions that you've already completed. So if you want to be a completionist and you want to find all those secrets, you can always do that. And on top of that, there are cheat codes in this game, which is kind of a thing of the past, which I think is really cool. You don't see a lot of like cheat codes anymore, right? Like infinite lives or infinite ammo or whatever. And you can unlock these cheat codes, go back and play the previous missions, and just use these cheat codes if you want to be God, basically.
They don't work on the what is it? The Ultimate Challenge ones that require the key. They don't work on those.
Correct. Right. And so if you're trying to be hardcore about it, then the cheat codes will not work. But even so, I still think it's kind of cool that they're even introducing the fact that here are cheat codes, this thing that is definitely a thing of the past. We could talk a whole podcast about Game Genie and things like that, but you don't really see cheat codes being a thing anymore. And I was just kind of like, oh wow, this is kind of neat. Like this is kind of bringing me back to my youth using cheat codes to get through games and stuff. So, but anyway, I think I'm coming away positive of it. And also too, I will say I think that this might be a little jarring for me just because coming off of Gears Tactics, which is the complete opposite as far as gameplay goes. With Gears Tactics, you have to be slow and you have to be methodical and it's turn-based. It's just the complete opposite of everything that Doom Eternal is. I think that it's just such a slap in the face as far as opposites go. But I think I'm enjoying it. I'm not sure if I'm enjoying it as much as 2016. I feel like 2016 Doom had like this attitude, this flavor that knew what it was. It was like it had a lot of humor in it. There were scenes where the Doom guy would drag a guy who had a key card around his neck just to unlock a door, like he didn't care. Another big example of this is in the 2016 Doom. Whenever you would acquire an upgrade, he would essentially rip the upgrade out of the robot and then destroy the robot, like punch it in the face, like he didn't care. And this Doom seems like it's trying to be a little bit more serious, which I don't know if I needed. I kind of liked the comical little spice that they added to the 2016.
You're missing the important ones too, like when he finds his little Doom guy secrets. The first one when he does a little knuckle bumps with it, and then does the little explosions.
Right. Yeah, and this one he just kind of picks it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't. There's no like. It's just not as silly. And I think I liked the silly components of 2016. I feel like I said, this one is going for a little bit more of like, hey, we're taking this kind of seriously thing. And that's fine. I respect to whatever a developer wants to do. But I really did enjoy those little quirks of the 2016. The music's still great. Everybody keeps on saying it's heavy metal. I'm sorry, that's not heavy metal. That is 100% industrial. But don't get me in on a music conversation with me, because I will drive you into the ground and tell you you're wrong. Everybody's like, oh, this is a great heavy metal soundtrack. It's like, no, motherfucker, that is industrial music. That is not metal. That is techno with a distorted guitar around it, is what that is. But I digress.
So there's one thing I actually wanted to bring up with you when it comes to the music of Doom, especially this one right now. Have you been seeing all like the the information that's been going around about Mick Gordon, this being possibly his last Doom game that he's going to be working on, and they're bringing another composer to work on the DLC for the game because of what's been happening with it?
No, but definitely tell me, because now since we're talking about Doom Eternal, tell me all this news.
So, so when the game first released, they had an announcement about the collector's edition of the game, and one of the big things people were super excited about for the collectors, besides the Doom helmet, the replica of the Doom helmet, is that it comes with the soundtrack for 1 and 2, and this is like the only way that you'll be able to get the soundtrack for the game before they release it digitally. And I, being a fan of the music, was kind of sad that I forgot to pre-order the collector's edition of the game. And the main reason why I didn't really want to get the collector's edition is because it was going to be $200. But they released the game, and then it was a cassette that had 1 and 2. But they were codes to get the games when they were released. Or sorry, the soundtrack was released, and they pushed back the soundtrack because I guess for specific reasons. And one of the main reasons is because I guess Mick Gordon wasn't able to finish the soundtrack, or wasn't able to do what is it called? He wasn't able to get the soundtrack done in an orderly fashion, and when they finally released it, there was I guess a YouTuber called the AC/DC guy, and he was showing when it came to the just how the wavelengths and everything on the music was done. He asked on Twitter to Mick Gordon, like, hey, on Doom 2016, the music, it fluctuated. While this one, it was just pretty much the same wavelength kind of thing. And Mick brought up that he produced and mixed some of the songs, but it did the rest of them. And so from there, people were like, what's happening here and there? And I guess recently it had a AMA on Reddit, and they brought up that, he wasn't doing, or he wasn't getting, his part of the contract done on time. And so as a plan B, they had their sound mixer guy try to make the music, or try to help get the music done for people that pre-ordered, that got the collector's edition, because they're trying to make sure that they don't get sued by people because this wasn't done, and consumer bylaws and that kind of stuff. And so this whole thing just became to a point that id and Bethesda were saying, if he wants to work with us again, he can. But as of now, that it looks like we're gonna separate, or the partnership is pretty much getting dissolved. And so they just announced the new DLC, and it sounds like there's a new composer helping make that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it. I think the music's okay. I mean, I can be pretty picky when it comes to that kind of stuff. I feel like it does do a good job to get me excited, and it does get my blood pumping, when there's 1,000 enemies around, and there's this bass that's kicking with this heavy distorted guitar going over it. It feels pretty good. I hate to see anybody lose their job. Rob, this Mick Gordon guy, he sounds like a nice guy, and I'm looking at his Wikipedia right now. He's done a lot of video games. My goodness, he's worked a lot in his lifetime. I mean, it's a pretty good laundry list of huge AAA games too. So it's unfortunate that they've maybe separated ways, but I'm sure it's for the better. I mean, they know their relationship, as far as their work relationship, better than we do. So I'd be happy with the introduction of a different composer. I'd be fine with that. But yeah, so I'm pretty positive on Doom Eternal. I think, as of now it's on sale, but I don't, I think that the sale ends today, so I think it's going back up to $60, but I think it's worth the price of admission, especially if you're just in the mood for a really fast game. I think I'm only going to be able to play it a couple hours a night. I think this is that kind of game where it's just like you can't just sit and play through this like you would be able to like put an 8-hour session into like Skyrim
Uncharted.
or Witcher 3 or something like. Yeah, you can't. It's just too much. It's just too much. It's too stressful. It's too frantic. I get too stressed out. And yeah, but it's really well done. So that's it for what we've been playing. So on this next segment, I'm going to think about the best way I can word this, but the best way I can describe this is we are going to be telling stories about video games that aren't about us playing video games. So stories around video games in our life, things that have happened to us that revolve around video games that aren't necessarily stories about us just straight up playing games. Roberto, this was your topic. I wanted you to go ahead and start first. Because you've had some time to think about this, and so let us hear it.
So my story, pretty much, it's about me and our neighbor. When we first moved in, we didn't know who he was. We would maybe see him here or there, going up the stairs and that kind of thing, but never knew his name, didn't know anything about the guy. And then maybe 4 or 5 months later, after we moved in, we started hearing this guy talk and scream and excited, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. But this was going for maybe a few weeks to a month or so, and unfortunately at that time I worked early mornings, 3-4 in the morning, and so I kind of needed my sleep, and so we it wasn't just us having problems with him, it was our neighbors in our apartment complex. And one, somehow never answered his doors or that kind of thing, because I guess he was always in his room and that kind of stuff. But since I don't know anything about this guy, I don't know his name or that kind of thing, it sounded like he was playing a video game. And so, I'm like, maybe he's a streamer. Maybe, this is what he does in his life. And I go to Twitch and I'm like, it sounds like he's dying. It sounds like he's playing a horror game. So what games are, like trending and stuff? And I saw like Dead by Daylight. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. And, I'm looking at this stuff and trying to figure out what the heck this guy's playing. Never figured it out what he was doing or what he was playing. But we've, finally learned his name, what he did. And that kind of thing. But the main reason why I brought this story up is because of that whole instance. I've always kind of like made fun of my girlfriend because she would watch Let's Plays and watch people stream games like Sims or that kind of stuff, and I was always wondering, like, why do you do this? Why do you just not play the game yourself? Like, this is kind of dumb. But after that whole thing, and going to the website and finally checking it out, I'm like, okay, I have an idea. I can see why people like this, why people watch other people play, and that kind of stuff. I recently, right now, well, especially right now because of this whole thing that's going on, there's like the kind of funny guys do game. They do a lot of like the Predator game right now, and I started watching one of their friends, Alfredo, in his Alfredo Plays videos, and I see this guy just, I guess he has a history of playing competitive games and playing Overwatch and TF2 and now Valorant, but on his like days that he likes to chill when he plays FPSs, he plays Predator. And man, him and his team, every time I watch them, I'm like, this is ridiculous. The squad is overpowered. The Predator isn't a predator. He's like a chihuahua, just gets destroyed on everything. And it's like there's no balance. There has to be, like you see these guys and girls, just like they'll change a theme like every 20, 30 minutes. Like, all right, let's just use snipers. They'll take them down in like 2 minutes. The worst one, and this is when I figured out like this game is not balanced, and the poor predator is just has nothing to do, and I feel bad for these players because the other thing is like because this game has crossplay, you can play with PC or PlayStation players. Because I'm not surprised that most players are on PlayStation. A lot of the predators they play against are PlayStation, and every so often there'll be some PC players, but they still destroy them. They went for like 30 minutes of just using knives. They were just using knives on this poor predator, on all these poor predators, and like their best time was 1 minute and 25 seconds just to kill this guy. And I'm like, this. They need to fix this game. Like, it looks like fun. I wouldn't mind playing this game. I might get it on a sale, but I'm not gonna grab it until they fix some of this stuff.
That's crazy. So in all, you basically got into watching streaming because of a random event that your neighbor caused, you not being able to sleep because of how loud he was being.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow, that's hilarious. That is so funny. That is a crazy story. Dantastic, what about you? What is your non-video game playing video game story that you'd like to share?
It's sort of on the same line that Roberto has, where it involves streaming, but it's not because somebody kept me awake. I actually used it as a tool to figure out if there was a game I wanted to play or buy. And a really good example of this was Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, the reviews were coming out for this game, and it was amazing. Oh my God, Horizon Zero Dawn is awesome. The main protagonist is, she's gorgeous and she's strong, and there's such a wide array, and it's such a different game, and it's a beautiful game, and da 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 da. I'm like, all right, whatever. Well, like, oh, hey, you know what? Let me just see what it looks like. I don't want to buy it and be disappointed, because I've done that quite a few times where I bought a game that was super hyped up, and I was like, man, I hate this game, and I wound up, turning around and selling it right afterwards within 2 days. So Twitch, I go onto Twitch and I'm like, all right, Horizon Zero Dawn. I type it in. I see a couple of people. Now, I like to interact with the streamer, so I tend to find those ones that have less viewers on at the moment, because if somebody has, thousands of people watching, what are the chances that they're going to actually read your message and be able to answer you? Not very much, unless you're one of their like best friends that have been around since day one. So I go to this guy that has like 10 people watching, pretty far down the list. And I was like, okay, he's in pretty early stages of the game. I'm like, okay, so there's not really much spoilers. And he's playing, and I'm like asking him questions. Hey, man, how do you like it? Are the controls smooth? All this and that. Oh, yeah, the controls are smooth and this and that. Did not give anything away about the game. Didn't, dwell in any menus, and didn't really like do any storyline stuff, and was just killing shit. And I was like, cool. Went out, bought the game myself, played it, beat it, got platinum. Everything was amazing. Did the same thing with a bunch of other games. Tomb Raider, did the same thing with sometimes I watch people playing Final Fantasy 14 streaming, even now. They'll sit there and they're doing their high-end raids, and what I watch them for is when they're doing their very, very high-end raids, and just to see if I can get that strategy, because I could watch a video on YouTube, but to watch somebody do it live is more satisfying. So that's what I usually do when it comes to video games. That's not me playing video games, is trying to figure out if I want to buy a game or getting strategy on a certain, boss, whether it's something simple like, oh, I just want to watch somebody play Pac-Man Champion Edition, or I want to say like, oh, you know what, Horizon Zero Dawn, is this a good game? Let me play it. Let me check it out. You know, that's how I do it.
That's cool. That's cool. So also streaming has helped you, decide what kind of games that you're going to want to play before you just go ahead and, invest all the way in them. And I totally respect that.
Yep.
That's cool. I mean, I too watch a lot of streaming. My story makes me sound really old because this event happened before streaming was even a thing. The story I'd like to share is going all the way back to 1989, and there was a little movie that was released called The Wizard, and it was starring Fred Savage, and actually Christian Slater was in the film as well. And it's essentially about a boy who's suffering from PTSD, and him and his brother, for whatever reason, try to escape to go to LA. I forget where they were from originally, but they end up having to travel across much of the country to enter in this tournament. And in this tournament, it's like $50,000. But the biggest reason why they're going there is, I believe this kid's parents, this child who's suffering from PTSD after losing his sister, they want to put him into a children's mental health institute. And they're trying to, basically tell their parents, like, hey, this kid is capable of so much more. He's very talented and he doesn't have any issues, not the amount of issues that you think he is. He's just different. And this was really cool at the time for me. I never suffered from any PTSD, but I really did like video games. And this movie was kind of showing gaming in a different way than it had up to that point. So like even growing up, 1989, I must have been 7. And even though I had friends who had gaming consoles, I didn't have any friends that were on the same level. Like, yes, I had friends who'd played games, but not like how I played games at that age. I was a little bit of a loner at 7. I would sit in all day and I would just sit there and stare at my Nintendo Entertainment System for hours on end, as long as my parents would let me. And I had friends who played casually, but not, like I said, at the level. So this was kind of cool to be seeing the video games that I kind of loved or that I thought I would love on a big screen, right? I remember it was in December. Like I said, 1989, I was 7. I remember getting a cherry icy butter popcorn. I believe my dad took me to see it. It was at like the Rohnert Park Cinemas, which is no longer even in the same location as it is now. I think it's like some coat factory or something. It's right next to where I think the old Target or the Target is now. But anyway, I digress. And I just remember in the film, it actually showed Super Mario Brothers 3. Now, what was really cool about this is at the end of the movie. I guess I'm spoiling The Wizard. Sorry, it's back in 1989. I don't feel bad. Yeah. But they actually previewed Super Mario Brothers 3 before it was released here in the United States, meaning that was the first time that anybody had seen gameplay footage, not Xbox Live event gameplay cinematic. No, this was actually somebody playing the game live, and you had to go see The Wizard in order to see it. And it was so cool. Not only that, they also showed Ninja Gaiden on the big screen too, which was like a huge. I mean, like these were games I literally jumped out of my seat, spilt my popcorn, probably spilt my icy all over my dad. My dad's like, dude, what is the big deal? It's just some kid playing a game and some over-dramatic story. And it's like, you don't understand. This is Super Mario Brothers 3, Dad. Like, like I hadn't even seen this. I hadn't even seen a still shot image of Super Mario Brothers 3. So you got to imagine my excitement. Like I literally found out in that movie theater that there was a Super Mario Brothers 3. That was it. Literally in the movie theater that I knew had something to do about video games, but not to this level. All of a sudden in the movie, I realized there's going to be a Super Mario Brothers 3. And I had recently been playing Super Mario Brothers 2. And so like, of course, this is like a huge deal. I can't even tell you the amount of excitement I had. I literally like ran out of that movie theater afterwards, so excited. But then of course I didn't get the game for like months after, whenever it released. But I remember the level of excitement and even the energy in the room. I wasn't the only one. There was probably kids that were a lot older than me that were like really excited as well. But I just remember that moment etched in my mind, and it was amazing to me because now we take all this for granted, right? We know about games months before they come out. We get to see all this information about them. And here was this movie, new idea that this game even existed, and then there it was on the screen in front of me. And it was also a pretty good film. It was very heartfelt. I won't spoil the ending. Guess who wins? The kid wins. Yeah, duh. Also pretty crazy too.
The Titanic sinks.
Yeah, the Titanic sinks. Duh, you know what happens, right? Also, very interesting fact, they showed some of the main secrets in that game in the movie. If you remember Super Mario Brothers 3, you basically find these whistles that fast you forward throughout the game to get you to the very end of the game. Well, of course, the kid finds like the whistles or whatever that progresses him further, because whoever gets furthest in the game wins. And that was the tournament. So I remember firing up Super Mario Brothers 3 and remembering where he had to jump, where this is kind of like a black dungeon level, and you have to jump up, you have to fly up, you go off screen, and you keep on running to the right. Once you get to the very end, you press up, and that brings you to the room where the whistle was. I remembered all that from watching the film. And of course, after the film came to VHS, I had rewatched the film. So of course I knew in the top of my head, like, where all this stuff was. It wasn't just one watch that I memorized all this, but because of that movie, I was able to, play through that game. And that's it, man. What a memory,
So now, okay. Now I got a question now that's kind of related to old Super Mario 1, 2, and 3. Have you ever played the full-on game without using any level warps?
No.
What, 3?
No, any of them. Super Mario 1, Super Mario 2, Super Mario 3.
For
like
sure.
any
Without
of those
without
ever, without warping, just like literally going from 1 2, 1 1, 1 2, 1 3, 1 4, moving on 2 1, 2 2. Wow.
Multiple times in 3 for sure. Multiple times.
Okay.
When I was younger, absolutely, for sure. But yeah, that's my story. That's it. It's a great time. And so that's it. I think that might be a podcast. I think we did it. We told our stories. We talked about what we've been playing. If you've made it this far, make sure to check out the Facebook page for the Games with R&D podcast. Give us a like over there. Drop us a question. Feel free to communicate with us. We'll get back to you. We'll talk to you in the comments and the threads. Also know that we're available on all streaming platforms, wherever you'd like to find us. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, you name it. Go find us there. YouTube, subscribe to us there. Hit the bell. And guess what? We love you.
Send us Dr. Pepper.
Send Dan Dr. Pepper. And some coffee.
And coffee. Bye.
Bye.